God bless you. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we have no other choice but to be glad in it. We thank you for tuning in. We come to you live from the store of Healthy Pharmacy, and we thank you all for tuning in. This is the day the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Um, Listen, before we get started, we ask that you would like and subscribe, tell your friends, your family, your neighbors that we're on talking about the issue of the hour, the issue of the day, the issue of the summer, this coronavirus. And so we thank you for tuning in. We hope all is well, and God is still good and worthy of the praise. Let us have a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time. We thank you for our life, our health, and strength. We thank you for things being as well as they are. God, I pray that you would look upon people all over, that you would continue to bless and keep us. In the matchless, wonderful name of Jesus Christ, we pray to God. Amen. Again, we ask that you would like, subscribe, tell your friends and family members that are on. We thank you for sharing this time with us. We thank you for tuning in. I thank you. I thank my wife for being with us, and I thank our state supervisor, my mother, for being with us. I want to jump right in. This may be a short session, if you will, but it's a couple things we need to talk about. And so I want to jump right in. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, please write it down in the chat list, in the chat room, and we will get to it. Again, we thank you for tuning in. I want to jump into the subject of mask versus no mask. We know that the CDC has suggested, and some places now are really making highly requirements or highly recommending that we wear a mask. So I want to talk about mask versus no mask. Should we wear a mask or should we not wear a mask? So many people walking around with the mask on their chin, everywhere but where it's supposed to be. I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago that the mask is not a fashion statement. It's not a avenue of you expressing how you feel. I've seen Black Lives Matter mask or Confederate flag mask. It ain't that. It ain't that type of party. So let's talk about it. Mask versus no mask. The study shows that wearing a mask is best case scenario, best case protection that there is. So what do y'all feel about that? Should we wear a mask? Should we not wear a mask? Should I get me a Louis Vuitton or Gucci mask? What are your thoughts?
Well, you want to start? Okay. So my opinion is we should definitely wear masks. And I think that the reason for wearing a mask is being misconstrued. So number one, you are not protecting yourself as much as you are protecting others from you. So the studies show that the masks prevent asymptomatic and symptomatic carriers from spreading coronavirus. And it does this by preventing large droplets from being expelled and broken into smaller particles that are then spread further into the air. So we all know that the mask doesn't protect you 100% from things getting out, but it does protect you from larger particles breaking up and spreading further. It reduces the distance of the particle spread. And that's why they talk about social distancing so much, because when you wear a mask and you're far enough apart, the droplets will fall before they're able to travel the distance per se to reach that other person. So in my opinion, the mask has proven to be effective in a lot of different scenarios in preventing the spread. One of which, one situation, there was a hairdresser who did 140 clients and she tested positive, and everyone wore a mask, and no one contracted the virus from her. Another was a person on a plane. He traveled from, I think, China to U.S., but he wore a mask and found out after traveling that he was positive, and the other 25 people on that flight didn't contract the virus. So it's protecting you from spreading it before you are aware that you could potentially be positive. So I think that it is a thing based on the studies and based on the situations that have presented themselves that have shown cases where people have gone to house parties or family gatherings, and everybody that's been in the room has gotten sick, and there's been no mask worn, versus these situations where the asymptomatic or symptomatic carrier presented and wore a mask in a confined space and didn't transmit the virus.
Okay, so mask is some line of protection, really from you spreading and not you receiving. Who you got to say, Sister State Supervisor?
Well, I feel also that we should wear our mask. Number one, they made it very well, very clear to us that it helps a person that's symptomatic and those that are asymptomatic. So if a person has it and they're around you and they don't know they have it, your chances are not as high of you getting it. But that's if you're doing distances also, because if you're up on them and they sneeze or cough or yell or laugh, some of the masks that you were talking about, if you are matching and if you have on Louis Vuitton shoes and a Louis Vuitton mask, it's not doing anything. You might as well have a coffee filter. It's not a time for us to dress up and match up, because if you're matching up, you're not doing anything. But there are masks that can help you a little both ways, protecting others and then protecting you. So it's not a thing that we're trying to be stylish or matching or looking good. Matter of fact, if I'm trying to look good with a mask on, something is wrong. It's something wrong with my processing this situation of Corona and a mask, and I'm trying to look good in it. It's a situation going on there. But I do think that we should all wear masks. I wish that the governor would make a stand and say not just have a mask or carry a mask, but wear your mask. And then when you wear the mask, wear it over your nose, over your mouth, or not just hanging halfway on your nose. I think we need to be careful about that also.
Along with that, I would like to see your thoughts. A mask is not a get out of jail free card ticket. Society, and they're going to make you think that everything is back to normal. Everything is not back to normal. And matter of fact, it'll be some time till we see normalcy. So having a mask doesn't mean you can just get out there and do what you feel like or want to do. I still believe that, put your mask on, you get in and you get out. And when I mean get out, you get yourself back home. This is not a ticket to shop or to get out in society.
I agree 100%. The mask is to protect you when you're doing essential things. Again, there's that word again, essential. Not to go to the beach.
We're still in quarantine.
Right.
Now, I know that the quarantine restriction has been taken off. I understand that. But when they put us in quarantine, till today, if you look at those numbers, it has not declined, not even one day. So as for me in my house, we're quarantined.
Absolutely.
And I will urge those of you that are listening, those of you that will listen, to continue to quarantine as much as possible. And so the mask is not, get out of jail free card, ticket, I can do whatever I want. The mask at best is okay. Excuse me. Okay level of protection. It's not 100 proof.
And there were 700 new cases yesterday in Indiana. So think about that. You talked about where we were to where we are now. We're no better off, especially, and think about it. We only got 700. There are states way worse. But our numbers aren't going down. Our numbers are going up too. We're going the wrong direction. We're amongst the states that are going up 10 to 50% in our number of new cases on a daily basis. So we're not trending the right direction. This is not the time to relax and be comfortable just because it's summer. And our president misquoted stating that the summer heat would cause the virus to dwindle, we'll call it. And that's not true. That does not work. Because if that were the case, it wouldn't have ever hit some of these countries that don't have winter. Right. So we know that was false to begin with. But I think that this is now time for us to really be on guard because people have taken their guards down. And when you go out to do your essential shopping, remember there's people that are doing everything. So you have to be more careful and more distant from others because they're comfortable now. They're going to do things just as they've always done. So they're putting you at risk, which is why they need to have a mask on.
And we need to have.
Right.
And so this is not a get out the house free card. Because you purchased a mask and it's been in your glove compartment. So we still have to remain careful. We still have to remain prayerful. You said 700 new cases in Indiana. We thank you. Lady Jackson said they had 850 cases and 6 deaths. So those numbers are steady going up. Not to be scared, not to be alarmed, but just to be wise as to what's going on. Because if you look at society, they would paint the picture that everything is back to normal. And even in some places, they had to close down the bars, stay out the bars, they had to close down the bars and the restaurants.
Going backwards, yeah.
So. And
Michigan is a state where Lady Jackson is, God bless you, where they've mandated masks now in all public places. So if a person comes into an establishment, they are to refuse service if the person doesn't have a mask on. And I think that they should do that in all the states.
Right.
It's going to cause some controversy, but I think it'll help tremendously with the spread.
And I think that's the thing to do. Here at Healthy You, we lock the door. So you're just not walking up in here with no mask on. So if I see you at the door with no mask, you can't come in. Because we don't know where you've been. And we're not refusing service. We just protecting ourselves as well as and so that's where we are. Let's not act like things are normal. Our height of protection and being careful should be at the highest level of being protected and careful.
And we also have to consider that we have 3 different types of people. We have those that are asymptomatic, and they're saying as they're testing, it's almost 20%. That's pretty high for asymptomatic. And so they have no way of even knowing that they have the disease. And then you have those people that have it. There are some that's being careful, and there's some that don't care. There's some people that's just out there. I know somebody that's just out there. And I'm saying somebody, but it's more than one. Several people that have it, and they're just out there. Well, that's not fair. You're not practicing. You don't have a mask on. You're not practicing. So we have to be safe and use our wisdom. And that's why I really wish we would either say, let's all wear them. You're not allowed in a business without that mask on. And then you have the people that are symptomatic. So you've got those different sets of people. And if we do the proper precautions, stay safe, wear our masks, keep our distance, keep our hands clean, make sure that when you take your mask off, you're taking it off the right way. When you get in your car, when you handle your keys, your steering wheel. I mean, we have to follow the chain of command. It's more to it than just wearing a mask. You got to do all of those, all of the above, in order to keep yourself safe and your family.
Yeah, because you can't pinpoint
Right.
where the contamination is.
Right.
And I think that's the tricky part, because they trying to push everything back to normalcy, everything back to normal. Being normal can cause you to be infected.
Absolutely. When you take your mask off and put it on your visor or throw it in your glove compartment or
Your armrest.
in your ashtray, you might be contaminating somebody, if not yourself. You have to be careful with it. There's a possibility there is a living virus on the outside of your mask. And on the inside, absolutely.
The other piece to that is when you are, like we do, we work in the public, and you are the person who is mandating or requesting someone wear a mask, you have to look at that side and say, how do I protect myself from those who are controversial or opposing wearing a mask? Because this has now become a political statement thanks to Donald Trump not wanting to wear a mask. His followers are being, very vocal and backing that. So you can tell when you're in public, when you see a Trump supporter and they're stomping around the store without their mask, so you have to deal with that side of it too and make sure that you're cautious in the way that you approach a person who's not wearing a mask, and think very wisely about what you're going to say, because you don't know how they're going to react to you. You don't know if they're racist. You don't know if they are looking for confrontation. So if it's not your personal business or you have some skin in the game, I would recommend that you avoid that confrontation and let someone else take care of that, because there are people now, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, that are looking for a fight. So I would avoid that.
And we talked about it, some weeks ago, about planning your day, planning everything that you do. Because we shouldn't be telling nobody. If we telling somebody to get back, then we need to get back. Or
You
we
need
should
to get out.
Yeah.
You need to go home.
So that never should be a conversation.
No.
And even here, we have curbside service. So if you don't want to wear a mask, we'll bring your items to you. Get in your car. But you're not coming in here. And so I think there is a level of respect that you have to have, and then demand in society. And you can do that without having confrontation. Which brings me to my next subject, social distancing. It's so very important that when you go to the store, they have to mark the 6 feet spacing. It probably needs to be 10 feet, And if you can't get 10 feet, then you need to have no feet. And no feet is at the crib, no feet is home. But we have to maintain social distancing. You see a friend, honestly, you have to wave. That fist bump is too close. That elbow is too close. They tell you to sneeze in your, and I don't want to start nothing. But we have to maintain that social distancing. So if you got a mask, it's not okay to get close. They did a study. And they showed the distance of the sneeze, how far it travels without the mask. How many of you know that even you sneezing in your mask, it's still getting out?
Right.
So that's where social distancing comes into play. What do you all think about that? I was at the store one day, and Oriental lady, if you can say that anymore, I don't know her I paused and
You didn't run?
I made a run for the border. Everything I had, it no longer mattered. And I'm not trying to, I didn't have no business being there at that time, but I don't want to cause any fear because a sneeze is a sneeze. It doesn't mean she had corona. I was just,
Well, now let's make it clear. If you have a cold, I don't want it.
Yes,
Stay away from me. I don't want the cold. I don't want the flu. So I definitely don't want corona. It's just, I'm not being prejudiced about any of it. If you got a cold, stay home. If you got the flu, don't shake my hand.
and so if you have to get out, you're not shaking hands, you're not hugging, you're not getting, ooh, I'm a hugger. No, you're not. You have to, you have to protect yourself. And part of protection is social distancing. And that's so, I preach church folks, we know how to social distance. That ain't hard for us.
Oh, no.
And now we have to implement it in our everyday life. Because it's a matter of affection, and then your loved ones bringing it home. Most Black folks I know have some type of undermining condition. It's a part of our culture, it's a part of our race, of some type of undermining condition. And so we have to be careful on every front. And we've been laughing, but we have to practice social distancing. If you're at church, if your pastor is having service, you have to practice social distancing. If you have to go to the store, it has to be a part of life. And I know this is not a popular program. I understand that, but it is our job to spread knowledge and to give you some things that maybe you hadn't thought about, maybe you have thought about. But it's our job to do that, and we just have to do it. So if you have to go out, and we laughed about it a couple weeks ago. I had my visor, and you need your visor and your mask, and that's not 100%. But the lady on TV the other day, she had her visor and mask on. I started laughing because I was like, that's too much, but it's not. It's just part of protection, and it's a part of life right now. Let's not let society make us feel like everything is normal. And let's not act like everything is normal. It's not. So no, you shouldn't be at a gathering. They said that, was it stage 4, stage 3, or stage 4 that you can be in a group of as much as 100 or 250 people. Well, that's not okay. That is not okay. We have to maintain a level of distance to protect ourselves and our loved ones. And that's as far as I would say with that. So social distancing is just an added measure of protection. And it has to be a part of life now. And that is your discretion. I think Sister Jada was talking about it. If someone is too close, we'll step back. If it's confrontational, then remove yourself out of the situation. And again, if you have to tell somebody to move back, then you move back. Maybe you should be there. But social distancing is just another added measure of protection. It's our right. And I believe it's just a level of respect. Along with that, schools can start. As parents, it is our right to say my child is not going, or my child is going. It's the parent's right to to have that say so. At this particular time, I don't feel that it's safe to gather at school. So my child will be doing e-learning. My children is doing e-learning because they have not shown me reclining numbers to support starting school. Because again, when they close school down,
Right.
look at those numbers. And look at the numbers today. So you have to show me some type of improvement. It's not been improvement in a good way. Y'all gonna let me do talk the whole show.
Well, not only that, if you have to look back, remember in the beginning, kids didn't get this. But the first place they closed was the school. And now they found, okay, kids are carriers, kids do get it. They also have this other multi-symptom or multi-organ failure where they went into cardiac arrest and all these other situations that are going on. And nobody's talking about that, but now, let's just open the schools up. Even though the numbers are rising, and now we know they're impacted and they're carriers, that's okay. They're not as impacted as adults. So let's just send them back to school. And I don't think there's a way to safely open the school when there's so many different opportunities for failure. When you look at the bus, when you look at the crossing guard, when you look at the police officer that works the door, when you look at the teachers, when you look at the custodians that clean, the coaches, there's too many different touch points that you can say who cleaned that area, or who the lunchroom, the classroom, and even when you look at high school, they switch classrooms. So now you have 7 different opportunities. Are they cleaning the classroom when the kids move from class to class? Because now they're switching desks. So now if one kid has it and they switch classrooms, not only is that child's desk exposed in every classroom, every person that switched through that classroom, so there's just so much that goes through my mind. And then how do you do e-learning, but you allow extracurricular activities? They're still exposed. So you don't go to school, but you have basketball or baseball or soccer or football. Well, that's not safe either. So I'm just trying to figure out how this is all even aligning and how they're making the decisions. And to me, again, I think it's politically motivated.
Yeah, and so I'm not the lead authority on this. You all do what you want to do. I'm just giving you some insight as to how things are going. Again, the old folks put it this way: better safe than sorry. And so a semester at home is, in the long scheme of things, it's not going to change much. A semester, 2 or half year at home, it's not going to change much. But it will change if I send my child into a situation and something happens. That's on my watch. I'm a pastor. You all are on my watch. And all I can do is give you advice as to how to navigate through this. And so we're still quarantining. We have cut down the number of places where we go. We cut down eating out. We cut down social events. We cut down church. We had a scenario that if we were back to having service, things could have turned out a whole different way. And not scared, just careful. I ain't scared. I'm just careful. And that's what we need to be. And things are not normal.
And it's going to be a while before they go back to normal. It's going to be a minute, because as far as the school is concerned, I'm stuck at the bus. I'm stuck at the children getting on the bus, and everybody needs assistance to get on the bus. So how many students is going to touch the handle, touch the back of the chair? I mean, you're talking about 25 different contaminating spots just going into the bus. And now the children have to ride together. We've got respiratory problems, diabetics, asthmatic, and all type of illnesses with our children. So they ride on the bus 45 minutes. All right, so what takes place in 45 minutes? What can take? How do you keep children still and quiet? There's going to be an exchange. So I'm stuck at the bus. I haven't even gotten off the bus yet. And I'm looking at us contradicting ourselves with the numbers going up, but now we're going back to normal. I got a problem with that. And especially with the babies. They're not really revealing how harsh it is on the children that have it. There have been amputation. They're breaking out in blood clots. I mean, they call it purple toe. That toe has to be amputated. So we're contradicting ourselves because the plan is not well planned out. We're going to a dead end road and we're going to have to turn around and come right back. So I think that the situation with the school, I think each parent needs to take it upon themselves and realize I've got to speak for the safety of not just the child, but the whole family.
And it's, as parents, it's your discretion. If the weather's too bad, forget Corona. If the weather's too bad, if it's too bad for your child to go to school and they have a school, it's your discretion to say, hey, it's too bad out there. And so that's where we let God lead us and guide us, not just through Corona, but through life. And God tells us what to do and how to do. We have a great tool in the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is just not an aid that when we go to church we feel it, but the Holy Ghost he leads and guides us in all things, not just the scriptures, but all things. And so we have a great tool in the Holy Ghost. We just have to allow him to use us.
And I want to back up a little bit to something that Dr. Jada was alluding to. Now we have people on edge. All right, when we first started out, everybody was concerned about the corona. Now we've got this racial thing that has entered into the equation. So when you go to the store, somebody may be there just to start a fight. So, that's one of the things that we talked about in the beginning is our prayer life. If for somebody to call you an in, and you're at the grocery store trying to get some groceries, if you're not prayed up and if you've not really done what it takes to get through somebody calling you a name, because and you're putting yourself in a position. Knowingly going to the grocery store, you might be called out of your name. Have you prayed up enough to be able to walk away from that and to go home? Now, we talked about if somebody coughed, you going home. If somebody sneezed, you go run home. If somebody laughed too hard, what if they call you an in? So, we're not leaving our scriptures and our prayers, our fasting out of the equation, because even now, more than ever, we got to be prayed up. Now, I chose to stay quarantined. I'm no dummy. I see the numbers going up, and that tells me to stay home. That lets me to know that since I don't want a cold or the virus or the flu or the corona, just stay yourself at home. But those of you that are going out, you may not get corona. You might get called a name.
And again, you have to plan your day. You have to consider that could happen. There is people out there that will do slick and sly things, just enough to push you, just enough to let you know.
You may say.
Yeah. Or I wasn't. Excuse me. Just to let you know, I'm against this movement. I'm not with this black stuff. These folks now driving around, hey, you driving around with the American flag. You saying something. These folks with different colors and things, you saying something. That's your business. So we have to plan our day. We have to anticipate things like that happen. We live in that time. And so we cannot outlive the moment. Because if we outlive the moment, we're going to lose it and get infected. So we have to be careful. just live in that time where we have to be careful. We have to plan our day. We have to plan. Because remember, weeks ago, they would hand you a sanitized cart.
Mhm.
Now it's a sign, the cart's already sanitized.
Mhm.
I've been sitting there all day.
Mhm.
So it's even evolving back to normal. And as soon as we let our defenses down, that's when the enemy comes in. And now we're looking at different avenues where he can get in and take us. So that's very important. Before you leave the house, know what you're doing. And know that you can come in contact with a person with a Confederate shirt or a MAGA hat or different things. Just it's a part of time to live. There's people that are genuinely on our side, if you will, and there's people that's just adamantly against us. That's aside from Corona. I chose not to get into those stuff. That's your problem. We got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger things now to worry about than a man with a Confederate T-shirt, or a person that's carelessly acting, that feel like that this Corona is not just a hoax. We got bigger fish to fry, so we got to protect ourselves from them, and still navigate our day and stay out of harm's way as much as possible. But we should expect it. We should expect it. We should allow the Holy Ghost to lead and to guide us. Lady Jackson said that there was a party last weekend with age group 18 to 25. She says out of that group, 40 people have COVID.
Oh my.
She says that party was about an hour away from her.
Mm.
Michigan has been a hot spot for some time. And so we're praying for you all. We're praying for the saints all over. But we are really praying for the hot spots. We're finding out that the hot spots are hot spots everywhere.
Well, let's talk about the hot spots. What makes it a hot spot?
High numbers of new cases.
And those high population, high density, the cities, the large cities. So you're looking at like New York was a hot spot, and it was like Miami, Houston, Atlanta, California, LA County. So all of those overly populated areas have been so far what they're seeing as hotspots. Detroit,
But see,
Chicago.
it's Chicago, Detroit is a little different. New York, in that they have a high African American population. So it makes it a little bit more devastating because we know now that this coronavirus reacts differently in the black body. So it's devastating to see Detroit having been a hotspot because they have a high black population. It's devastating for Chicago and even some parts in Florida, being hot in Texas and Houston. Those are high ethnic populated places. So we pray for those people. Special prayer for them that God will continue to cover and keep them. It's still amazing to me how it's still so many people that has not taken it serious. The parties and the pool parties and the beach parties and the house parties. It's just amazing that it is not taken as serious as it needs to be. And we're finding out that a large number of those people are being infected. They had a party up here in think in Michigan, Silver Beach or Lake or something like that, that went national. And they're finding out that a large number of those people.
But that was at the beach party outside. They
Yes,
were outside.
they were outside. Yes, yes. Daytona, spring break, those numbers are surfacing now. And they're finding out that they're really effective. And so hotspots are breaking out all over the country. All over the country. One day, Indiana was moderate. Remember, we were in the orange. The next day, we were in the red, along with a lot of other places. Lake County, God bless you, Sister Lugo, Mother Lugo. Lake County is a hotspot for Indiana. Elkhart, I believe, yes. And so Indianapolis, Marion, that county, yes. So each state, if you will, has a hotspot or has a place where you get a high number of cases. I believe, was it yesterday? As for the country, I think we reached a record of 60,000 new cases. I think that was yesterday.
I believe it was.
Reached a record of 60,000 new cases. Over 2 billion cases, and then over 130,000 deaths.
What do you think about the statement that the president made that the reason the numbers are going up is because we're doing more testing?
Well, that's how you find out the numbers.
I was like, okay, maybe you meant to say something different. What do you think about that?
Well,
because in the beginning, we're doing all these tests, we're doing great, and now he's like, stop testing. Well, no, that's not how this works, because realistically, if we were doing the right thing, the test would come back negative. Or people would have to go test.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
So he's not making any sense.
Okay, I got you.
He's just trying to cover up the fact that the numbers are going the wrong way. And everything directly points to poor leadership. If you look at the other countries, no other country has had the response that the United States has had, and their numbers didn't do what the United States numbers did. We are now banned from traveling to other countries.
Right.
So when you look at that, China can come in and we can't. So it shows you that he's now deflecting and trying to say, oh no, it's this and it's that. And that's when he's a master. He causes chaos to deflect from himself and what he has failed. Instead of admitting when he's wrong and reaching out for assistance with other leaders who can give him guidance, he won't admit it. He won't do that.
and the test is not 100%.
Right.
No.
Right.
So he wants us to have less testing, but the test is not 100%. So in my opinion, we need more testing because you get tested for a reason. Listen, think about it. Yeah, you asking for a test for a reason. So if you come out negative, then maybe you should wait a couple of days and get tested, retest it. Because Lady Jackson said 858 new cases, 700 new cases. That's one day. And so, we have a lot to pray for.
And I think another thing that would be smart is, okay, we know that we had 700 more cases, but how many tested negative? Let's wait. Let's say we did 1,000 testing today, or in the month of July, we're going to do 1,000 testing, and we found out that only 400 was positive and 600 was negative. They're not doing that. They're just telling you, okay, 700 tested positive.
They have the total test performed on the site.
Oh.
Okay. They have it. And I can pull it up on the top. But yeah, they show you what tests are performed, and there's a large number of tests being performed. But the fact of the matter is the percentage of positive is still going up.
Quickly.
Yes. In terms of every state, I think there's only 7 states in the United States that have seen less than 1,500 cases. So when you think about it in that regard, no matter how, what percentage you're seeing an increase, every state, almost all the states now are within the 10 to 50% increase in reported cases. So that's what you should, you can look at it in that way to say what percentage is positive. But a lot of times it's just a matter of kind of just getting raw data and saying this is a number positive, Because if you look at it, how many people are in Indiana? Yeah, there's a ton. And I think there was probably 8,000 tests or something. I don't know how many performed. But it's still going the wrong way.
Because the reason I asked is because if we had 700 that tested positive, suppose we had 1,000 that was negative. So I was just saying, and then next week we'll have 600 that was positive, but we got 1,500 that was negative.
In my opinion, that 1,500 need to test a couple of days later.
Oh, wow.
Right, and that's because you have to look at that too. How early are they testing? And is it too early?
Because again, you asking for a test for a reason.
Right.
Sore throat or fever, you're going to get tested for a reason. The test is not 100%. Therefore, if it come out negative, I wouldn't be happy with that, in my opinion.
Because I'm still sick. Okay.
And I'm not a doctor, I just play one on TV. I wouldn't be happy with that. And I think that's what's happening is those negative results. And so, we got a lot to pray for, but we got a lot to thank God for also.
Absolutely.
And, if you hear my voice, we got our health, we got a portion of our strength. We're still here, and we don't look at what we don't have. We look at what we got. Just thank God for it.
And I think we're stronger.
Oh,
I think we're wiser. I think we're more alert. And I think that even though this has been a very critical time in our lives, spiritually, we're soaring.
Yeah.
And then our wisdom, and then just being alert and just following the leading and the spirit of God. Because during this time, he's setting neatness. He's letting us know, you need to bring that down. You need to stop that. So I think there's a lot of things that we need to take out of our lives. Just like when they called for the quarantine, I think we as Christians, we need to quarantine and start taking things out, privileges out of our lives, things that we used to do. We need to start removing those things and then allowing God to lead us and study and praying for him.
Tighten up. Getting back to where we should have been. And, God, we said it weeks ago, months ago now, but God has allowed us time to get things right. Get back to what's really important, what's really going to get us to heaven. And so I just thank God for this time. I don't know when the last time I was home on Memorial Day. I don't know when the last time I was home on 4th. And many other holidays, just ripping and running. And now we have a time of rest, a time of quietness, and a time of regrouping and getting together the next game plan. I just enjoyed it. It's been a time of prayer and a time of being cautious. And, we probably should have always been. And so, sometimes we just take so much for granted. There is a lot of viruses in the world, in the earth, that can take you out. The West Nile virus. Remember Mad Cow?
Oh yeah.
Mad cow disease. There's so many things out there, and the flu can take you out. And so there's so many things that we have probably just overlooked and taken for granted that it's just tighten it up. It's probably spots in your house that you've never seen cleaned before, and had the opportunity to get it together. I know some of the saints has been planting gardens, and so it's just the time to do some things that you never had really time to do. We had a garage sale in our neighborhood. Not that we had a garage sale, but honestly thought about what could we put out there for sale. Never had that type of time before. And so just thank God for giving us that time. Say, hey, slow down. Acknowledge me. Spend time with me. We spend time at church.
Oh yeah.
How much time do we spend with God?
Yeah. And I was using as a pattern washing hands. Well, what about our spiritual hands? On the natural, they're saying wash these hands with soap. What's my soap? What's my spiritual soap? What's my spiritual hands? Then it says, don't put your hands in your mouth. All right, what about my mouth? And then it says, don't put your hands in your eyes. What about my spiritual eyes? So I've been cleaning up everything. My conversation, what I say, what I pronounce, what I speak into the atmosphere. I'm careful how I see things. I'm mindful what I'm going to touch in the spiritual realm or on the natural. Everything is not a fight. There's some battles you don't even have to touch it. So I've been kind of flip-flopping back, natural, spiritual, and working on me.
I think it's a great time, the greatest time. It's a great time to be alive.
And you said this is our year of victory. So when you look at it in that aspect, we keep talking about going back to normal. We don't want to go back to normal. And if you're looking to go back to normal, you missed it.
Oh my.
Because that's not where you want to be. We're supposed to be looking forward because God has elevated us all to a different place. And now, I challenge you to realize where you should be spiritually and physically, because we should be all looking at the blessings that God has put before us and seeking Him more.
Yes, ma'am. Shiloh is coming.
Shiloh is
coming, and
yes,
I believe
sir.
through this is preparing us to appreciate Shiloh, to appreciate the abundance.
And I see clearer now. I'm literally able to see and visualize, not through Beverly's eyes, but to see the vision and the things that God wants me. I'm hearing different. Although when they first started out, I don't know if you remember, they said, don't put your hands in your ear. And I was like, what's wrong with put your hand in your ear? They said your ears, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. Then they dropped the ears off. But we got to hear God clearly. And so now that we've quarantined and withdrawn ourselves and separated ourselves and cleaned our hands and watching our mouths and watching our eyes, we ought to be able to hear God just like that. So it's been profitable in a lot of ways. And it's made me think broader, not my forward no more, but global now. It's about global.
I think the power of prayer has been put back in its place. The devil has tricked us to make us think that our prayers is not effective. But through this time, we've learned that our prayers have it's even more effective.
Wow. That's it. The devil been trying to cover us down. He's trying to silence us. And so now God pulls us aside and says, you're not to be silent. Use your mouth. Use your hand. And Shiloh's coming. We got the victory already.
Shiloh's coming.
You can count on that.
So the mask is not 100%, the social distancing is not 100%, the test is not 100%, the hand washing is not 100%, the hand sanitizer is not 100%, but we serve 100% God.
Oh my.
That's watching 100%. Over us. He that watches Israel neither sleepeth nor slumbers. So we have a great God. He's worthy of praise. He's worthy of great praise. We thank you for tuning in. Chanel was preaching over there. She said, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Thank you. good things
The good thing.
that He has prepared for those that love Him. I don't know about you, but I love God. So we thank you for tuning in. We hope that something was said to help you, to inspire you, to encourage you. We have been a blessing. We ask that you would plant seed into this ministry, that we can be bigger, better, and greater. It is our desire to reach the masses right where they are. For so long, we was hoping for them to come into the church doors, but it is our desire to now to come into your doors.
Wow.
And we just thank God for the awesome opportunity that He has allowed us. You can plant seed by the CashApp or by the Square app. Plant seed by placing the stamp on the mail and sending it. We thank God for all of you. We thank God for your prayers. We thank God for your comments and your concerns. And we thank God for the good and wonderful miracles God is still performing. God is still working. God is still doing what He do.
Yes.
So we thank Him for the great things that He has done, the victories that He has won. Shiloh is coming. Shiloh is coming. We have victory, and He is just getting us ready for the abundance of the glory of God. And I can't wait. So we thank you for tuning in. We pray that you all be blessed. We hope that all is well at your house. And we are continually praying for you. We love you. We miss you. And God bless you. Thank you for tuning in.